Okay, so now we are going to learn how to use the Counting Us app. Before we jump right into it, I do want to just take a note of a couple things. So, for those of you who choose to conduct the surveys via the mobile app, you will need to download it either via Google Play or iTunes Store. Um, and then you'll be able to have it on your device. Also, for those of you who are doing the mobile app, just know that the only time you'll actually need internet is when you are downloading the app and when you are submitting saved surveys. So you can actually move through the survey without actually being online or using your data. Um, and also for those of you who are going to be using your computer and you need the web link to access a survey, this is the web link up here in the left hand corner. So it's counting.us. So that's what you'll be entering into your browser to get you to the survey page. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and start. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to register an account. So you'll click here. You're going to want to fill out all of the information that it's asking you for. Please do make sure to enter in a cell phone number. That way the PIC coordinator has the ability to contact you if need be. Just so make sure that this is a cell phone number or a number that you'll be able to easily answer. So once you enter in all this information, you're going to want to submit the registration, and then you'll go back to the main page. So you're going to enter in your information, enter in your password, and then you're going to log in. So the next screen that it's going to take you to is to choose account. So then it's going to say you don't have any existing accounts, so you're going to want to join a new account. So what you're going to be entering here as your setup key is TXBOSTEST. So that is the account that we are going to be using for right now. And just so you know, this is a test account like it says, so please go in and complete as many surveys as you want, make as many mistakes as you want. Since this is a test account, nothing's going to go live, so feel free to play around. So then you're going to hit join count, and then it says you are now counting for Texas BOS test, so we know that it successfully added us to that account. So then we are going to hit get started. It's going to provide us with these two options, so the observation option and then the interview option. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the interview option first. So the interview option is going to be the one that you select when you are actually engaged in talking to participants and they have given you their consent to take the survey. So then we're going to click on that. It's then going to ask you whether or not you want to do an individual or a household survey. So depending on who you're talking to, you'll make that determination. So if you choose an individual, this is what it looks like. It's going to take you through this set location page. If you allow the permissions on your phone to actually track where you are at, it's going to actually pinpoint the exact location of where you're at. If for some reason you don't want to allow those permissions on your phone, or say you meet somebody and you're talking to them on the sidewalk and they're not actually where they usually stay, and you want to enter in their location, sorry, I did that too soon. You actually click in enter address and you can put, just a general idea of where they are staying. So maybe they actually just stay on Main Street. And then you go ahead and put your city in there, and then obviously we're in Texas, and then you'll submit that information. So this is just a way for us to be able to understand where these people are staying. It's really valuable information, and if you do not want to allow those permissions on your phone where it does the work for you, please make sure that you are entering an address here. And like I said, it does not have to be an exact address. It can just be, street names. So then you'll move on to the next step. And then you're going to just move through the survey and asking the individual all of these questions. So you'll scroll down, and honestly, it's a relatively quick process because, as you'll see, this has the majority of these have drop downs, so you're able just to quickly click on the answer. Um, Another thing that I want to highlight, whether you're doing an individual or household survey, is please try to get their first and last name. And if they hesitate or are not willing to do it, please at least attempt to get their initials. Another thing that would be very valuable for us on the back end for data quality issues is to try to gather either their date of birth or their age. Once again, if they're not willing to do it, don't push it, and just kind of estimate what their age range would be. Um, with these questions, we never, especially the demographic questions, we never want to assume, so please make sure that we are asking them, their gender, their ethnicity, race, so forth. So once again, you're just going to go through, answer these questions. The majority are drop downs. The next thing that I wanted to highlight is that on these sensitive questions, as like substance abuse issues, chronic health conditions, it is, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to talk about these issues. So if you want to preface before you get into these questions, the following few questions are personal in nature. Please know that you do not have to answer any of these questions if you feel uncomfortable, but we do have to ask each of these questions to every single individual. So just let them know that, we're going to be going into some personal things. Please feel free to refuse, but know that these are questions that everybody is being asked. And then another thing that I wanted to touch on to say, if this, they do say yes to one of these questions, then we do have this follow-up question underneath. So you're gonna, if it's a yes or a no, if it's a yes, we're gonna want to click it. If it's a no, then we can just leave it unchecked. And then at the bottom, this note section. Please use this section as much as you want. We want you guys to put any information that you feel is valuable to collect about this particular individual. Maybe you want to document, something about their disability, or maybe you want to document, some of the resources that they may need. This information is going to be available to the PIC coordinators and your community. So if, maybe you have an outreach team that's looking for certain individuals, make sure that you're documenting just any demographic information or anything that you feel is appropriate and valuable to document on the individual. So, for all surveys, whether it be the interview survey or the observation survey, we have two options at the end of answering the questions. If we have internet access or able to, have our data, we can submit the survey right then and there, and it goes into the system, which is great. You're done. Don't have to worry about it. Everything's good to go. If say you are working offline and you do not have internet access, you're going to want to save this as a draft. And what that does is it saves it at the beginning, and I'll go ahead and go back. So let's just hypothetically say that we're saving it as a draft. We're going to go back to the beginning of where we were, and you'll see that drafts, and it's got a number right here. So there's that draft that we essentially saved. It's right there. And so what you'll want to do with any saved drafts is, once you get back to a location where you have internet access, you're going to want to click on that, and you're going to want to click on this particular draft that you want to submit. You're going to open draft, and then now that you have internet access, you can submit it. So one caveat is that with these saved drafts, I went too far. With the saved drafts is you have to submit it. Say you have 20 surveys that are saved here. You're going to have to submit them one by one. Since they are collecting information on, specific individuals, it separates them. So you will have to submit 20 surveys one by one as you have internet access. Okay, great. So let me just highlight something else. So we went through for individuals. Now let's see what it looks like for households. So this is a question that you're going to ask the individual verbatim. So including yourself, how many adults and children are there in this household who are sleeping in the same location tonight? So say you're speaking to a mother and her daughter. So she tells you there's two. So you enter that, you click OK. Once again, we have this location screen. If you are able to pinpoint exactly where you are, move on. Next step, if you need to enter in the information, please click here and submit that. So we're going to move on. So I want to make note of this little section up here in the left hand corner. So it says you are on member 1 of 2. So since the mother told us it's her and her daughter, essentially we're going to be filling out 2 surveys. So same as before with the individual, you're going to be going through the questions the exact same way. These are the same questions, and then note section if need be. So you're going to submit this, and then it's going to actually take you to the next survey. So it'll be the same thing. So then you'll see here 2 of 2. You're going to enter in the information. The one thing that I want to highlight is that for those individuals who are younger than 18, it will kind of tell you where you do not have to answer anything but the demographic information. So after you enter in this information, the demographic information, you do not have to answer, all of these substance abuse issues and all of that information. So anything, just the most important thing that we want to be able to collect is the demographic information. For 18 and above, we want to make sure that we are answering the full survey on those individuals. Okay, so we're going to go back to our options. So that's essentially what we're going to be doing for those individuals that we've talked to and they've given us consent and we're able to collect their survey on. Now we're going to look at the observation survey. So for the observation survey, we choose this for a few different reasons. We would choose the observation survey, per the training. If we see somebody sleeping, we do not want to wake them up. So we would select the observation survey, collect the demographics, submit, move on. Another reason why we may collect the observation survey is maybe we see some individuals that are down in a dark alleyway that maybe we don't feel comfortable going down, but we can kind of get a sense of some of their demographic information. So then we would choose observation and we would collect their demographic information. Because, once again, we want to make sure that we're staying safe. So please, go with your gut, and if you feel unsafe, at least try to capture that demographic information on those individuals. And then another reason that we would use the observation survey is, say we are engaged in a conversation with an individual, we're telling them about what we're doing, and they decide that they do not want to take the survey. So we're going to honor that, and we're not going to push them to take the survey. And so what we'll do is we'll click on the observation survey, and we'll at least collect the demographic information for that particular individual. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the observation looks like. Once again, it's going to ask you individual or household. We're going to do the location. We're going to move to the next step. And then this is the information that you are observing, right? So we're estimating, we're guesstimating, trying to figure out exactly what this information could be. It may not be 100% accurate, but do your best job of trying to figure out the information. So it's much shorter, the observation survey. And then please, feel free to enter any additional notes that you feel necessary. And then you'll submit the survey, or if you have internet access, or you'll save the draft. And then if we click on the household option, once again, this is something that you may not actually be asking them, but so, say you see a mother and her daughter and sleeping in a car. So then you'd put in 2. Same thing here. And then once again, up at the corner, it says you're on member 1 of 1, and then you'll submit the survey and it'll say, now you're on member 2 of 2. So that is essentially how you use the app. I just want to, highlight that these are the two options that you have to choose from, the observation and then the interview, actually talking to the people and going through the survey. Also, make sure that at the end of the count that you do not have any drafts left on your device. So make sure that once you do get to internet access, you are uploading or submitting, I'm sorry, those surveys individually. Um, so, with that being said, you all are now ready to practice entering surveys into this test account. So, good luck and thank you again.